Welcome to the Elite Performance Team podcast. Dominic Crillo and Dr. Jan Kasperitz produce podcasts weekly with information in health and wellness, as well as guests on our podcast. If this is your first time listening, thanks for listening. If you like our content, you can find more information on Facebook or subscribe to us on YouTube or iTunes. Today we have Mark Williams. Mark has an extremely impressive run streak going on. Mark, what's the run streak?
Well, it's 3,150 days. Today will be 51. I didn't get my run in yet. I'll do it this afternoon.
How many years is that?
That is roughly 8 3/4 years, roughly.
Wow. Mark has brought his entourage with him. We have Chris Gentile with here as
This is
well.
the first time we've had a guest with an entourage.
Yes. It's an impressive entourage.
Mark, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, grew up, born and bred here in New Jersey. Family's from Jamaica. Been with Verizon my whole working career. So I've been with them, 23 years now? Went to Rutgers University, got my master's, my MBA at Fairleigh Dickinson. Grew up in Sussex County, went to Sussexville Tech High School, and love running. Work in the communications technology field, and do my thing. I love running, and found this Masters track and field world again. Step back on the track, and something I've been doing a long time, since 4th grade. So
That's a couple years.
yeah.
So we have a quote of the day, and it's very appropriate, I feel, for the guest we have today. So the quote says, if you want to change your body, exercise. If you want to change your life, become a runner. What do you think about that?
That is so true. I mean, running has infiltrated almost every facet of my life. It's actually basically how I started with Verizon. I started actually in the fitness centers, and did a lot of running and stuff from there, and did their corporate challenge and helped them get all that set up. And of course it turned into a career, and got serious back into it, and it basically, it's the engine that pretty much drives a lot of things that I do. Inspirationally, it keeps you on track, it keeps you motivated, keeps you disciplined.
Excellent.
So,
Doc.
You know what, playing off with what Mark said too, because I'm more of a cyclist than a runner, and same thing with cycling. I got to the point where it's one of the things I really enjoyed doing as a kid. So it kind of brought me back to when I was a kid, and I was like, how can I monetize cycling? Not being a competitive cyclist or earning an income from cycling, but it's like, how can I take a hobby that really is a huge part of my life and bring it into the office? And I'm like, you know what I could do, instead of being a regular chiropractor, I could develop like sports recovery for cyclists and for runners. So pretty much same thing. It's like the cycling is, I'm not going to say all encompassing, but it plays a majority part of a lot of things that I do in life. A lot of decisions that I make is based around that as well. So I agree with Mark. How about you, Dom?
Well,
Are you a runner, Dom?
I love running.
Dom posted he ran his 1,000 miles this year.
yep, awesome.
Congratulations.
Yeah. I started running, to be totally honest, I used to be pretty heavy.
Mhm.
At one point I was close to 250 pounds. And I had already thinned out, but runners are skinny. So I'm going to run because I want to be skinny. And that's literally what drove me to running. And what I found was I had this, it wasn't that difficult for me to get out and run. I remember my first true run once I was kind of fit was 25 minutes on a treadmill. And I said, if I can do 25 minutes on a treadmill, I have to be able to run 2 miles outside.
Yeah.
So I did that, and I kept running the same 2 miles for years. But it has totally changed everything in my life. I use it as stress relief.
Mhm.
I love it. It certainly keeps me disciplined, and I definitely stay motivated by signing up for races.
Yes.
I can go out and run, but when I don't have plans, those runs aren't as good.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I totally agree with that. Like, I can't just run to run. I need to run with a purpose in mind, with a task and a goal to reach.
And we have Chris here, who's also a very avid runner. Chris,
Yes.
what do you think about that quote?
No, I agree. Same thing. I mean, running, I find that the days I run, they're more productive at work. I'm more focused. I have much more energy. It's interesting, like the off days, and you need. I mean, obviously Mark has the streak, so there's no off days for Mark. But my off days, I find, you know, sometimes I'm like lethargic. I don't, you know, really have the same energy and focus, you know, as I really should. I really find that, you know, it's the best way for me. I always run in the morning. I run early in the morning. You know, people at work think I'm crazy. I get up like 4:30 because I have a long commute to Verizon from where I live. But you know, I get up at 4:30. I'm at the house 5 o'clock, and it's the perfect way to start the day.
Interesting. Mark, how did you start in a master's track and field?
So Masters Track and Field, back in, I think 2003, 2004, we did the Indoor National Championship. So I knew that they had some kind of program, you know, where it's solidified. But a lot of it was just road running once I left college. And, you know, did 5Ks, 10Ks. But it really didn't sort of kind of, you know, really grab me. You know, I did it for exercise, and after I graduated, I didn't think there was much in the track and field world, you know, if you weren't like an elite or pro athlete, you know, at that level. So when we did the indoor championships back in 2003 and 2004 up in Boston at the Reggie Lewis Center, I was like, oh, this is kind of neat. It was kind of fun. And then, of course, life gets in the way. I started commuting into the city, and I live out in Sussex County, out by Blairstown there. And, you know, commuting almost 5 hours a day, some days. So the running really tailed off. And then 2007, I came back and started working back on the Jersey side. And I started, you know, you'd get on a horse a little bit and try to do some consistency with running, and I'd do it for a couple weeks and then fall off the horse. And that happened for about 3 or 4 years. And then 2011 came around, and I ran. My cousin had just gotten married down in Jamaica. My family's from Jamaica. So we came back, and I ran for like 3 or 4 days. And I looked at my watch, and I'm like, you know, I can't remember the last time I ran a week straight. And then I said, you know what, I'm going to run every day until November 1st. And then my wife and sister were like, why do it till November 1st? See if you can do it for a year. So I ended up running for a year. And that was May 15th, 2011, I started that. And 2012 came along, and then I was like, you know what, I'm going to run every day for this full calendar year. And then later that year, I was getting ready to turn 40. And in the running world, I hear it gets competitive on the track again around 40. So I was like, you know, I'm turning 40 young this year. Let me try to focus on 5Ks, 10Ks, build some kind of base, and maybe step back on a track, see what I can do. And you generally have this misconception that, oh, you're going to step back on a track and you're going to be right back where you were in college. And I'm like, yeah, it doesn't work that way. But I stepped back. 2013, I started doing a lot of meets at the Armory, and some indoor meets on locally in New Jersey, and it was pretty competitive. I was like, okay, it's kind of neat. And then that year, indoor nationals were down in Landover, Maryland, and I signed up for the 800, and my club actually had a relay, 4x8 relay. So in the 800, I was like, okay, let me see what I can do. And I got on the line, the gun went off, and you figure you're just gonna outrun everybody, and it doesn't work that way. It takes time to build and get back to some semblance of fitness. And in the race, we went out, with a lap to go. We were all right there. We all kicked all at the same time, and it was so competitive. And I ended up finishing third, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. And then in the unseeded heat, this guy Ed Winslow, who's a sprinter, was trying to come up into the 800 and ran the 800, and from the unseeded heat came back and beat me by 1/100th of a second. So I ended up taking fourth. So I was like, holy cow, this is competitive. So it sort of kind of ignited that flame. And I was like, okay, this could be fun. So then, I had an outdoor season and started, running some races outdoors as well. And then apparently, at the time I didn't realize, they have a master's ranking, mastersranking.com, where they rank, track and field athletes, masters athletes by event and age group. And apparently I was, had made that ranking for indoor. And USA Track and Field has this master's exhibition program, which of course I knew nothing of at the time. So some guy out of California calls me. He's like, we have the national championships for the elites, which was a qualifier for them that year to make the world championship team, which it was in Russia that year. And he's like, I'm trying to fill the fields. It's an 800 this year, and I'm trying to, fill the fields. We don't have a full field. And I was like, okay. And mind you, I think this was 4 weeks prior to the actual event. So I'm like, you know what? Let me check and see what, I have on my calendar. Of course, after I got off the phone, I'm like, I don't care what I'm doing that weekend. I'm clearing my calendar, and I'm going to go. So they're calling back, set up the things, flew out there. And then I get out there, you get your credentials. You're just like one of the elite athletes. And, it's times for an event to come up, so we're starting to do our warm-ups and everything. And I start doing my warm-up, and then Lolo Jones jogs past me. And then I turn around and look in the corner, Tyson Gase, like right there in the corner.
Oh, wow.
So inside, outside you got to be calm, cool, and collective. But inside, I was like, oh my goodness! I'm like, And then, we went out. They brought us out on the track, just like one of the elite athletes. They take your gear, they put it in the baskets. They take you out onto the track. They lead you out there. You run. As soon as you finish, they have water and everything for you. They bring you back into the staging area. They bring your baskets in with everything. They treat you like you're royalty, which was amazing. And the announcer, all that.
Was Chris with you as well?
That was not.
You didn't bring the entourage?
There's no entourage. At least I wasn't part of it.
And so after I did that, and Mark Clary, who was actually at the time was the exhibition chair, he did that. I was like, holy cow! You have these kind of opportunities for masters athletes to run with like elite runners, like pro athletes. It's almost the equivalent of playing in the World Series with Derek Jeter or playing in the Super Bowl with Tom Brady. It's like you're at that level. You're at the pinnacle of the sport. And I'm like, we have these kind of opportunities. And at that point, that for me brought it to a whole nother level. Then I went back and pulled out all my college workouts. My coach Mike Mulqueen down at Rutgers would always rat out all our stuff. And don't ask me why I saved them, but I saved them, had them in a box. I saved like 2 years of them. So I went back, pulled out all my college workouts, modified workouts, started a strength training program, like a modified strength training program, and didn't realize in the masters world, it was way bigger than I thought that it would ever be. They have world championships. I've gone to I think 5 or 6 world championships now since 2014. They have regional world championships, national championships, all over the country and all over the world. And so masters track and field is an amazing sport, and it's for all levels. Whether you want to, some people use it as a social thing and and a way to travel. For me, I just like to push my body to see what I can do. What to see and show what's possible.
It's tremendous.
That's an exceptional story. That's a great way to get people motivated. It's awesome.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
real. I want to start running 800s.
Yeah, no, you should come to some of our meets. It doesn't matter. You get out there. It's encouraging, and we encourage everybody because I look at it this way: it's more beneficial if you have more participants than less. So it's always encouraging. You give folks training tips and techniques, and I share everything I do. There's no secret to what I do. My workouts. 2 years ago, I started working with a strength trainer who's gotten me, the strongest I've ever been in my life. I wish I would have had this kind of strength training back in my prime. I probably would have been. It would have been a world of difference back then. Yeah.
Is that how your training regimen is now?
Yeah.
Today?
I mean, I have an indoor season, an outdoor season, and in the fall I have a base building season. And then of course after outdoor finishes, I usually take about 6 to 8 weeks where just downtime, recovery. But then come the fall, I start raising the mileage. Doing a lot of 5Ks, 10Ks, cross country to sort of kind of build that strength base and aerobic base to get ready for the track come indoor season.
That's great. Have you been able to skate away from injuries?
Knock on wood. I mean, I've had some injuries, which probably the biggest one that I had was 2015. I had a hip imbalance, and that year, I have a deep tissue guy, Mark Nahara, who is a neuromuscular masseuse, and his practice called the Winning Edge. He in West Orange. I've been seeing him over 20 years. I think 97 was when I started seeing him, and he keeps me together. He allows me to train at the level that I train at. If I did not have him, I would be broken and would not be able to do what I do. But in 2015, I had a lot of, there was a lot of family funerals, so I was doing a lot of traveling back and forth to Jamaica. And ironically, it didn't really, like when I was flying down, it didn't really impact my competition schedule. So it was in between those weeks. But I wasn't able to see him, like I try to see him twice a month when I'm in season. But because I was doing traveling, I would miss some of my, my sessions, or I wouldn't be able to see him. And my hips came out of alignment. And one workout that I did right before, it was maybe 10 days before the Masters Exhibition event, which was indoors, it was a 1500. That year, John Chapman was just blazing. He turned 45, and he was like crushing all these records, dropping the mile M45 world record. And he was making a run at the 1500 meter world record at the Invitational program. But 10 days before that, I had actually hurt myself. Didn't realize that I hurt myself, and threw my hip out of alignment. And that year, it just plagued me the whole year. It was, keeping it in alignment. It'd always pop out. And it was World Championships were in May that year, and I came close to actually breaking my streak. I went to Mark and I was like, I don't know if I need to stop. If I need to stop, I will. Even my doctor, my primary care, I'm like, do I need to stop running? And they're like, well, let's see if we can do it without having to make that happen. But I'm like, if I need to stop, I'll stop, because my running streak, as I say, it's a nice to have. It's not a have to have. It's great. It maintains a particular level of fitness. It keeps you somewhat motivated, and you really don't fall off the horse, and it forces you to maintain, just a certain level. But that year was a year that I struggled with injury, and almost stopped my streak.
What about nutrition-wise? Do you follow any kind of specific nutrition program?
I'm not super anal about nutrition. I do watch what I eat, so I'm very conscious.
Are you like vegetarian, vegan, keto?
No, I eat
diet?
no specific diet. My breakfast generally, I eat eggs. I eat a ton of eggs. So in the morning I have at least 4 eggs almost every morning. My lunch and dinner are very similar. I usually have a starch. 9 times out of 10 it's rice, a vegetable, and then a protein. And my protein mostly is chicken. I eat a lot of chicken. But yeah, nothing, and I try to make sure I get all my nutrients through my meals. I don't do any supplements, because you hear a lot of craziness about supplements where, even though they give you the ingredients list, there could be stuff that's not in there that, through USA Track and Field and at the world level, we get tested.
Sure.
Regularly, and I've been tested a couple times. So I don't want to risk any kind of, issue there. So I don't really take any supplements. I try to do everything through my meals.
Smart.
And what about, do you do any long distance running, or is it?
Distance for me, every once in a while I'll do a long run, which would be like 11, 12 miles. But on average, my long run is closer to 8 miles. I usually try to do that maybe once a week or every 2 weeks or so. But my mileage, I'm relatively a low mileage runner for my events. I generally do about 30 miles a week. Maybe 35. So I'm not a high mileage person, but on my workout days, which I try to do twice a week, my intensity is very high.
Right. And you're obviously doing more type recovery stuff.
Yeah.
Like some of your.
Yeah. So a lot of my runs are easy. Most of my runs are easy. I go hard twice a week, and then the rest of the time it's real easy runs.
Yeah,
7, 8
it's key
miles.
for longevity. We have a good amount of clients that come in here super motivated to run, and they're just pushing it way too hard all the time.
Yep.
I try to explain to them, out of 100%, no more than 20% of your run should be pretty intense. The rest should be pretty much just easy.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
If you look at your elite athletes, like the guys out of Kenya that are running all these crazy times, on their easy days, they're running 8, 9, 10-minute pace. Like they're
And
It's
what
the
winds
ego.
up happening to these people is then they're injured, because today they ran for easy numbers. They ran an 8-minute pace today, but tomorrow they want to beat that, and they just keep going and going and going and going. And there's no recovery.
Yeah, the body needs some recovery to recover, to heal.
And also lots of different muscle groups get activated when your pace changes that drastically.
Sure.
Mhm.
You're hitting all kinds of, and then you're getting stronger.
Yep.
Right? When you're doing those slower runs, you're actually getting
Yeah.
stronger. You're building that.
And even when it goes down to like powerlifting, totally different event. But what they do is they use a very light weight and they just do it frequently, and then they slowly increase the amount of intensity they do. Same concept. They don't lift heavy all the time.
Right.
It's like you're expecting to see these guys lifting, like bench pressing this enormous amount of weight. It's not. Maybe 80% of the time they're doing a very light, easy weight, learning how to use it, get comfortable with it, and then every once in a while they'll go ahead and increase their intensity, just like with running.
You can burn out too, right? If you keep running hard all the time,
Yeah.
then it becomes
Yeah,
less
you increase your
enjoyable.
cortisol
Yeah.
levels too, everything gets inflamed.
Yeah.
for
And it's
sure.
the other thing that's great too, you're doing low mileage, so this way, like I mentioned before, longevity wise,
Yes.
it's gonna keep you running longer,
Oh, yeah.
healthier.
Oh yeah, I mean, I go to some of these championships and you see guys and ladies out there and they're 70, 80, 90, 100 years old and they're out there. And I'm like, if I'm alive, that's what I'm doing. If I'm alive then, that's what I'm gonna be doing.
Yeah, our biggest concern is when people come in, athletes come in, they're doing like, do a 5K in the springtime, they're doing like a half marathon. In the summer, then they're doing like Philly marathon in the winter. I'm like, dude, you just started running, you know, you really need to pace yourself. And then they're doing like 2 marathons a year, and then they're doing like 2 marathons like within 3 months. I'm like, what are you doing? That's not good, not good.
Not off the bat, you gotta build, because it takes time for the body to adjust, like your bones, your muscles, your
Sure.
tendons, everything needs to get, it gets stronger with time, but you also need to be conditioned to be able to do that. you know?
Sure, and that's the thing, you cannot speed up the conditioning and the strengthening of those supportive ligaments. It just takes time.
Yep.
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 That's absolutely right. It takes time, and it takes those different runs as well.
Yes.
Those faster,
Sure,
those
hills,
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
go to
Exactly.
hills.
Yep.
But we see this a lot, and he's speaking about running right now, but we see it with triathlon too.
Mhm.
Never done a triathlon in your life, and they're signing up for half Ironman.
And just jump
What-
right
what?
in, yeah.
Wait, what?
And you ask them, can you swim? Yeah, I can swim. Can you swim with somebody kicking you and another guy next to you punching you? No.
In open water?
Yeah, you know what? Where there's no line on the
Yeah,
bottom.
exactly.
You know to go straight.
Mhm.
And we see it a lot. Or sprint to Ironman.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, whoa.
Yeah, because there you gotta deal with people climbing over you and
Of
you get
course.
pushed under.
Of
Yes.
course.
And changing and stuff, yeah, right?
Right,
Yeah.
it's totally, it's
Yeah.
a whole different animal. How do you overcome obstacles? You have a certain mindset with this?
Yes. My sister and I, we have this little mantra. It's you never give up. 'Cause I have this poster when I was first interning at Verizon or Atlantic at the time. The guy
Bell
that ran-
Atlantic, I haven't heard that in
Yeah.
100 years. Holy cow.
The predecessor
Blast
to
from the
Verizon.
past.
Yeah.
I'm showing my age. But I saw this poster. It's called "Never Give Up. The Tide Always Turns at Its Lowest Point." And my sister and I talk about that all the time. And my sister, mind you, she's an award-winning 60 Minutes producer, has multiple Emmy awards. You name the award, she has it. And it's just about persistence, never giving up, and the other important thing is attitude. It's all on how you look at it. Because life, as I say, it's 90% attitude, 10% what happens to you. You know, it's all on how you look at it.
And how you react to it.
Yes.
Right? So
Yep.
like shit happens.
Yes.
Shit happens.
Yep.
And what are you gonna do moving forward?
You gotta and just figure it out. You know.
Right.
And once you get in the mix, it'll come to you. You know.
Attitude and mentality are huge with
Yeah.
that.
I say attitude determines altitude. You know, it's the most important thing. Most important thing.
Do you have any kind of like specific routine or a specific pair of shorts or socks that you wear when you're competing?
Yeah, I have 2 pairs. When I'm in competition, I have 2 pairs of shorts that I use. The Nike shorts that I always wear only in competition.
So these are left in a special place where nobody can get access to them. These are your shorts.
Well, I have a drawer which is my competition drawer. So I have my local competition. So my Garmin runners gear, which when I'm competing locally. But then it has all my Team USA gear. So when I'm competing internationally, so it has all my sweats and
Sure.
tops and you know warm up tops and everything. So yeah. So I have a specific competition drawer.
Mark, I have one of just my running shirts, and I have one of just my running shorts. Then I have a different one that has my race stuff in it.
Mhm.
So I think we're all.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
we're all a little like.
What's
You
your,
know,
what's
when
your
it comes to
sneaker
that,
of
yeah.
choice?
I'm a Nike guy, so I've always been a Nike guy since high school. You know, I was a Pegasus guy all through. In college, I did wear Nike, but they had a program where we were able to test various shoes. I think Reebok. We had to test shoes from Reebok that we were able to test out. And but since I left school, I went back to Nike. For a while, I was using their Veremo line, and then last year I went back to the Pegasus line. And then, of course, for my spikes, I wear what are my spikes? They'll come back to me in a second. But yeah, I'm a Nike guy.
And you wear spikes for 800.
I wear spikes for 800. Yeah, anything on a track, I'm generally spiked up. Even when I do my workouts on a track, I'm generally spiked up.
Because Dom's got an interesting new pair of sneakers he's been using.
I'm running in the Vaporfly 4%. Have you heard of those?
Yep. Oh yeah.
And it's changed my running.
Oh yeah.
It's changed the way I strike the ground. It's really. But what was funny was when I first bought them, I brought them to the office. They were
Mhm.
brand new. I put them on. And we have a long hallway over here. And we walked down the hallway, and I said, "Doc, I don't think I can run in these." My foot was literally caving in.
Yeah.
They're very, very awkward, for lack of a better word, to walk in.
Yes.
When you run, it totally.
Totally different.
I was about to return them.
Yeah.
And I'm flat-footed,
Mhm.
and I can't fit my orthotic in it, and which I think is a blessing. And I really did a lot of work at changing the way I strike the ground.
Yeah.
And with these sneakers, I mean, they're
They
really
make, they make a world of like.
world of difference.
I don't have the 4%. I have the one that doesn't have, because the 4% have the Kevlar plate in the bottom.
Right.
So I have the ones that don't have it. I forget what the model is, but it's the same cushioning. And after I got back from World Championships in Malaga last year in 2018, there was a 5K down. I think the silver, little silver,
Yeah, little
5K.
silver, yeah, down the
And
shore, yeah.
I had just bought the shoes. I bought them to do the Midland Mile that year, so I wore them just for that, and then I came back and wore them for this race. And I just came back from Worlds at Malaga. So, your body's a little beat up, so I wasn't going to try to go really hard. And we came out, and I was like, you know what, I'm running for the team, let's try to, score for the team. And I went out, and I ended up running a decent time, 16:45, and my body did not feel like I ran at 16:45. And I was like, holy cow, I did not know shoes could have that much of effect on the body. Like my legs, my legs felt fresh. Didn't feel like I just finished running a sub 17, 16:45 5K. I was like, wow.
When I first brought them here, him and I were really kind of dissecting a little bit. I went to bend them like this, and they don't bend.
Mhm.
The toe bit. You really got to put some effort into it to get them to bend. And it made total sense why the push-off is going to change.
Mhm.
Because you're not getting that bend in the shoe. Right? So the push-off is going to be slightly different. And it really, truly
Yeah,
is.
reduces your
Yeah.
fatigue.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I feel like, I wish that I used to run with a Garmin watch. I run with an Apple Watch now. I wish
Mhm.
I used to measure my stride length.
Yes.
I bet my stride length got a little bit longer.
Probably changed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Well, Nike just came out with another shoe, which there's a lot of controversy around it, which I think it's a moot point because the human body really has not changed over time. And if you look at all the records that have been broken, whether it be in sport, for the most part, it's all technology driven. It's just improvements in technology. Like if you look at, like a perfect example is, you look at Jesse Owens back in 1936, who was running on a cinder track, which sopped all the energy out, and you look currently now, like Usain Bolt, they're running on a Mondo track, which returns, how much percentage of energy back? Way more than Jesse Owens back in the day, and then shoes, and that's how he's running that fast. And then another example is, look at Roger Bannister back in the day when he broke that 4-minute mile. That event was a staged event. He had 3 or 4 pacers that helped pace him through that to break that 4-minute mile. Now when I'm probably going to pronounce his name wrong, but Kukovic ran that sub 2-hour marathon.
Yeah.
Same thing. I mean, he had over 40 pacers. The car it was no different than what Bannister did way back then to break but it's just showing what the human body can do. It's like it was an amazing feat.
They'll break that.
Oh yeah, well,
It's
it's just a matter of time before that becomes a norm, where that's going to be the benchmark, like the mile. It's a 4-minute,
Absolutely. It's insane.
It's amazing. It's an
Yeah,
amazing
insane
feat.
pace.
You know.
So you have this real good, it seems like you have this real good outlook on life, and you take this with you, from what I'm gathering, you take this with you onto
Yes.
that track.
Oh yeah, life is way too short. It's, you know, you gotta experience life. Life is all about experiences, and you gotta get out there and, you know, have a positive attitude. A lot of people are like, well, you know, the glass is half full. Like, no, the glass, you have water in it, so you have something. You have something to start with. It's not, you know,
Yeah, fantastic.
and you know, we're very fortunate to live where we live. You know, I mean, you look around, like my sister does these stories, and you see on the news in these places, you know, in Africa where they don't have anything, and every day you go to work or you're just in our area here, and they're always complaining about something. I'm like, do you realize there's people in the world that, you know, we take for granted? We have shoes. We wake up in a house. These people are living on dirt floors. They don't have anything. So it's like, you know, we're blessed to live in the time that we live in of history, with all these technological advances, in a country that we live in, with all these benefits that, you know, many of us take for granted, and a lot of people in the world, majority of the world, don't have these, you know. So, you know, you just got to be fortunate and blessed for what we have, you know, and that's how I look at it. You know, life is way too short, and take advantage of what you have, and, you know, be grateful for what you have, because, you know, it can be gone in a minute. You know, life can change in a minute. So you got to make the best of the time you have, and, you know, just keep moving forward, and, you know, share the wealth.
Definitely.
I can attest to Mark, even whenever I see him at work and stuff, he's always got a smile on his face. He's always like the most pleasant person there. He's a rock
So that's
star.
how you guys balance each other out? You're like the yin and the yang?
Yeah, I'm like the visible one. And Mark, yeah, picks me up.
Sorry, Chris, this is what you're here for.
The entourage.
Well, you think of entourage, you know, obviously I'm the only one here, but you should see Mark at the omelet line at work. He mentions, you know, he has eggs every day. He's the rock star on that omelet line. They're all gathering. He's like the center of attraction there.
That's great.
The cafeteria loves him.
What did you get in your omelet?
Usually tomato, ham, and cheddar cheese.
Nice.
Interesting. That sounds good.
Yes.
Sounds delicious right around there. You spoke about the Masters track and field. Anything more you'd like to speak on that?
It's you know, we try to open it up to everybody, and it's a lot of people think, oh no, I can't do it, I don't run fast. I'm like, get out there, just get involved. It's, you know, you don't have to be a rock star, superstar, or super fast. You don't have to be like a Bernard Lagat or a Usain Bolt. You know, just get out there, get the body moving. You know, the body's meant to move, meant to run, and it's a great way to get exercise, physical activity. You know, getting the kids out there, it's a great way for adults to get a great example out for kids, because, you know, in schools now they're cutting back on all physical education and physical activity. You know, and then with all, you know, granted I work in a technology field, so I'm you know, part of what drives us, but at the same point you can use it to, you know, help with exercise and get out there and get the body moving. And the Masters community is so opening and welcoming and supportive. You know, whether it be training tips, you know, competitions, figuring out where to go, what to do, and USA Track and Field has a great Masters program with, you know, local races, regional races, national races, and even on the world stage, you know, going to these world championships, you actually get the opportunity. You know, very few of us will ever be like an elite type athlete like a Bernard Lagat or, you know, Usain Bolt, where you're going to be, you know, elite in you know, the world, you know, competing in the Olympics. But at the Masters level, you can compete on the world stage, get a feeling what it's like, compete for your country in your, you know, country gear and represent your country. You know, opening ceremonies, closing ceremonies, you know, getting on a podium, having your anthem, you know, behind you. So you have those opportunities to see what it's like to be in the Olympics. You know, so you can still experience that. And on a Masters stage, unlike the elites where you need to qualify to get to that level, you just need to enter the race and go, you know, and then you learn, you figure it out, and, you know, you can, if you want to push your body to get better, or you want to use it as a social piece, or you want to use it to travel the world, you know, get out there and do it and get involved.
Yeah, that's great.
And that's what Masters Track and Field is all about. It's all about involvement and camaraderie. It's, you know, it's like a big family. It's amazing.
Tell us about Master Milers.
So Masters Milers, we started this group on Facebook to sort of kind of share training, tips, race schedules, what we do, like how we train, how we compete, and just get a group of like-minded folks together to just share this information, share the knowledge. Because a lot of people are like, I don't know how to train, or many folks. I was blessed enough to be able to compete in college at the Division I level, but not a lot of people had that opportunity. And in the masters world, they're trying to figure out, well, how do I do this? How do I do this running thing? How do I compete? How do I, get stronger? How do I not get hurt? So this group, is, and it's open. We involve all like-minded folks at all levels, whether you're, an elite masters or elite runner, all the way down to someone that's beginning and trying to figure it out. Or if we have a gentleman that's in there who's trying to get back. He's trying to, just like you said, you were heavy a while back. He's trying to lose weight, and we're all supportive in that group. He's out there posting what he's doing, and we're all cheering him along. I'm like, yes, you can do it, And it's a group like that. And then a couple of years ago, I think maybe a year or two ago, Peter Brady started a podcast, a Masters Miles podcast, where we bring on various runners. I mean, we were within the Masters community. We've been able to get some elite runners on there. We had I'm drawing a blank on his name now, but one of the marathoners on there, Meb.
Oh,
so
Meb, sure.
So we got Meb on there, but we have all different folks in the Masters community that come on, and we talk about training and what they're doing and how they're doing it. I think right before, 2 or 3 weeks ago, we had the national championship, cross-country championships in Lehigh. So we had Paul Carlin on there, who does a lot of writing in the Masters world about, long distance running. So he came on and gave his predictions of the different age groups and different teams and all that. So yeah, so it's a great informative podcast, and the group on Facebook. It's it's a closed group, so we try to make sure we keep it like-minded. So it's we just don't let anybody just come in. We want to make sure that they're like-minded and contribute and grow the community.
Very good. How can people find you, Mark?
People can find me. My handle on Twitter is MarkRuns, MarkRuns, Twitter. I'm also on Instagram, and my Instagram handle is MarkStillRuns, and of course Facebook. You can always look me up on Facebook. I'm always there as well. So.
Very good, Doc. Anything?
It's inspirational. I like the whole concept of Masters. Not just track and field, but we also had another gentleman here last week, Andreas. There's Master Cycling as well, so there's no excuse. You could always get re-involved in something that you're passionate about when you're younger, like with running or with cycling, with anything. And like you said, life's an experience, getting out there and running, even outdoors. It's just an experience. I mean, competitively. Just get it out there. You have a body, you need to use your body. And especially with the majority of our population these days sitting behind computers all day, you can't survive. Your body will dwindle, and you're going to get sick. You're going to have developed some type of illness. You need to get out there, use your body, breathe the air, and the other beautiful part about it is the community part of it too, the social aspect of it. Because they say that's another big hang-up with a lot of people in our Western civilized culture, that we're becoming less social. So having that group sense, that group approach to things, those relationships, that's what will keep you healthier, longer, living a longer, better quality of life.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's funny because like on Facebook, I think I forget how many friends I have on Facebook, but I could probably count on my two hands folks that I have not met. Like generally, if I met, I'll accept your friendship if I've met you or we have some kind of dialogue. I don't just accept friends or friend folks just because they're on Facebook. I know or have physically met most everyone that I'm friends with, and we use Facebook to sort of kind of keep in touch to see where everyone's going. Like we'll go to World Championships and we're like, hey, you're on Facebook, and then we connect that way, and that's how we build a community. When we're running particular races, like we have the New Balance Grand Prix that's coming up the end of January up in Boston at the Reggie Lewis Center. I try to work with Steve Matonis, who actually runs that, and I try to help him make the field as competitive as possible. Reach out to folks that are over in Europe. We try to pull them over so we get an international field on the Masters side, just like it is on the international side when they try to pull in their elite athletes. Last year I was fortunate to work with Steve to help get a women's Masters Mile entered and started in that, because there's a lot of stuff on the men's side, but there's not so much stuff on the women's side. So I'm trying to help balance it out and get more women, opportunities, just like we have on the men's side, where they can compete at a high level, competitive events like the New Balance Grand Prix.
That's great. That's great. Any idea how long you'll continue this run streak?
Hopefully, well, the run streak, it's a nice to have, like I mentioned before, not a have to have. So, it'll continue on, and if I need to stop for any reason, whether it be for injury or whatever, because for me it's all about the competition. I want to keep the competitiveness high. So if I need to stop it to maintain that competitiveness, I will. But I mean, it's a nice to have, not a have to have. So there's no, and it's an unintended streak. I never set out to say, hey, I'm going to run, X number of days. I started doing the streak, and the fitness just started getting better, and I got to a certain level, and it's allowed me to maintain a certain level of fitness. So
yeah, it's part of your thing. It's like
Yeah.
brushing your teeth, putting
Yep.
your pants on. I
Yep.
gotta go for my run.
Even on the days I don't feel like doing it, and I, tell you, there's many days that you don't feel like doing it, but I can tell you there's never a time that I've gone out and done my run that I've turned back and regretted that I went and ran.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Never.
So,
Oh, Mark, thanks for coming on.
Oh,
Definitely
thanks
an
for having me.
inspirational person.
thanks for having me. This was
Really
great.
good. If you like, you can subscribe to our podcast on YouTube and iTunes, and please share it with your friends or anyone who may be interested in our content. Until next time, train your brain, train your body.